news. This is Peter Boykin. This is hashtag Go Right News with Peter Boykin. I got a lot to talk about today, and thank you for tuning in. Please share this and like this right now.
I think it's time for us to go right.
So before we go into the rest of the news of today, I was going to do a separate podcast about this, but it's not a lot of information, but it's important to let people know about it. I didn't put an article about it because it's still speculation, but if anybody knew, Donald Trump apparently was convicted of misdemeanors, felon, whatever, about being basically the victim, extorted by Stormy Daniels, for paying back the lawyer who stole from him and who also took it upon himself to pay Stormy Daniels. So Donald Trump paid that guy back. Campaign finance didn't really find an issue, but because this is supposedly campaign finance and everything, that's why they bumped it up to, the felony instead of just misdemeanors, which most people would get. Well, in that, the judge was supposed to cast sentencing on July 11th, which he didn't. He pushed it back to September. Mainly, he pushed it back because the Supreme Court had decided that presidents should be immune from most things, while they're president. Now, one could say, though, that Donald Trump did this before he became president. How could there be an issue? The problem with this is, and it's kind of what we've been saying from the beginning, is the evidence that they used against Donald Trump during the case was gathered because of his presidency. So, in fact, that evidence should not have been used in the case. Plus, the fact that he's president, it was a reason why to go against him in the first place, to mess with his presidency. So that judge has some sense. One, he doesn't want to be the one that can fix Donald Trump. He doesn't know exactly what to do in this situation. He doesn't want to be hounded by, crazies. And frankly, it looks like the case is probably going to be dropped, or the case will be null and void. Things might be thrown out, and Donald Trump will probably not be convicted of anything, which is a great thing, because he should have never been convicted anyway. All the other cases are basically thrown out the door. Again, this was all to distract Donald Trump, to keep him busy, and to try to make sure he didn't become president.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
So, with that, we're going to talk about the election countdown, how it put a focus on policies and candidates. It's Trump versus Kamala in 2024. Now, as the election approaches, the political landscape, and this is pretty long, in our constitutional republic has become increasingly charged. The recent decision by the Democratic Party to position Kamala Harris as their leading candidate has stirred significant debate and analysis. This strategic shift, perceived by some as a recalibration of their campaign, has placed Republican candidates on alert, emphasizing the need to remain steadfast in their messaging and policy advocacy. Now, opinion-based content indicates that some Republicans feel the media and entertainment industry have created an environment that challenges the candidates more than in recent memory, and this sentiment has galvanized the Republican base, underscoring the importance of focusing on policy issues that resonate with voters. Now, supporters of the Republican platform argue that their policies are superior, particularly in areas as border security, healthcare, law enforcement, and criminal justice. And they point to concerns that Kamala Harris's policy proposals could lead to an open southern border, which is already wide open as it is now, provide health care to undocumented immigrants, which is not needed because we have enough people here that need health care. They could defund police departments, yeah, they could, and eliminate cash bail, potentially allowing violent criminals to be released without sufficient oversight. Chaos. That is the Democratic Party, normally the chaos party. These views reflect a broader concern about maintaining law and order and ensuring that immigration policies protect national interests. Now, the phrase "keep calm and make America great again," often associated with Republican messaging, highlights the party's call for a return to policies they believe will strengthen this nation. This slogan capitalizes a desire for stability, economic growth, and strong national security. And as the election nears, it's not too far away, less than 100 days, it is clear that this race will hinge on contrasting visions of the future of the United States. The Republican emphasis on policy clarity and their critique of the Democratic approach aims to sway undecided voters and solidify support within their base. The outcome will ultimately depend on which message resonates more effectively with the American electorate, reflecting the diverse and dynamic nature of our constitutional republic. And I say constitutional republic over and over again because I'm a constitutionalist for liberty, constitutionalist above all. I'm a citizen journalist. I like to talk about subjects, and I like to analyze subjects. And here's another one. Analyzing Kamala Harris's stance on policing. As the election approaches, it's crucial to examine where candidates stand on key issues, particularly those that impact public safety and law enforcement. The mainstream media often overlooks these discussions, so providing a detailed analysis becomes essential for voters seeking clarity. In a conversation with MSNBC's Chris Hayes, Kamala Harris recently shared her views on the, quote, defund the police movement during the protests following the death of George Floyd. Now, Harris emphasized the need to reimagine safety in America, suggesting that it is, quote, outdated and actually wrong and backwards to think that more police officers will create more safety. Now, this statement, it reflects a broader debate about the role of law enforcement in maintaining public order and safety, which is a central concern for many voters. Don't forget that Kamala Harris was one of the first persons to lock up the most black men in prison. It's not been good for her, but this is, the beginning of the flip-flop. Harris's support for reallocating funds from police departments to other community services, which further demonstrated when she praised Los Angeles for cutting $150 million from its police budget. This decision aligns with calls from some activists to shift resources towards social services, mental health support, and community outreach programs. And I'm not knocking those programs, but we have to protect people from people. And that has an accurate police force. And if you don't defund their police to fix the police department, you educate the police. That's what you need to do. You actually give more funds to accurately give them the equipment, accurately have the people behind them, accurately have the support crew, and have more funding for the police to do their job. You don't cut their budget. It makes no sense. However, this approach has sparked controversy. particularly among those who believed it would compromise public safety, just like I said. Additionally, Harris's encouragement for her supporters to contribute to bail funds for individuals arrested during the protests, including members of groups like Antifa and BLM, has been a point of contention. And critics argue that such actions may undermine the rule of law and public trust in the justice system. And remember, these are the same people that said, give a bail, get these people, these protesters out, the Antifa type people out, Meanwhile, the people who went to the Capitol building on January 6th, throw them in jail, lock them away, enemies of the state. Things that they did were just as light or not even as worse as things that BLM has done, that Antifa has done. But because it's a political thing, let's bail them, let's get them out, let's not even try them. But for January 6th, it was 9/11, right? That's horrible. That's horrible. Now, as we evaluate candidates' policies, it's important to consider these perspectives and their potential implications in our constitutional republic. This discussion around law enforcement, public safety, and community investment remains a pivotal issue in this election, reflecting broader societal debates about justice, equity, and the role of government in ensuring a well-being of its citizenship. Now let's move on to another instance of Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's controversial truancy law. It's a closer look. Now, truancy is making sure your kids go to school, not running the streets, which is a good thing to have truancy laws. But in this case, there was that time that Kamala Harris tried to put parents in jail. As the election season intensifies, it is crucial to scrutinize the policies and actions of those seeking the highest offices in our constitutional republic that ensures our democracy. One such figure is Kamala Harris, whose record as district attorney of San Francisco raises significant concerns, particularly regarding her stance on truancy. Now, the truancy law, during her tenure, Harris supported Senate Bill 1317. Enacted in 2010, this law made it a misdemeanor for parents whose children missed more than 10% of school days without a valid excuse. The penalties were severe, including fines of up to $2,000 and potential jail time of up to 1 year. Now, the intent was to combat truancy, but the implementation and consequences drew considerable concern and criticism. Now, criticism and controversy. The critics argued that the law disproportionately impacted low-income and minority families, failing to address the root cause of truancy, such as economic hardship or medical conditions. A notable case involved Cherie Peebles, who was arrested after her daughter, suffering from sickle cell anemia, missed 20 days of school. The case highlighted the law's insensitivity to the complexes of family and health issues. Now, there are some character concerns. Harris's support for such punitive measures raises questions about her judgment and leadership style. Critics suggest that her approach demonstrated poor judgment, as incarcerating parents Critics suggest that her approach demonstrated poor judgment, as incarcerating parents does not inherently solve truancy and may exacerbate future instability. Additionally, some argue that this policy reflects a tendency toward authoritarianism, a concerning trait for anyone seeking higher office. They're always calling about Donald Trump being a dictator, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. Here we go, Kamala Harris. I want to throw people in jail from truancy law. Let's ignore, family values and things like that. just want to throw people in jail because it's my job. I got to do it. Now, during her presidential campaign in 2019, Harris expressed regret for supporting the law, acknowledging its flaws. However, this retrospective regret does not erase the impact of her decisions on affected families. Now, Harris's record on truancy laws is a critical issue for voters to consider. It reflects broader concerns that her approach to governance, particularly regarding policies that affect vulnerable populations, as they want to bill Kamala Harris as being black, she hasn't really watched out for that community. Why would she watch out for that community in the future? But some people will believe that. They'll believe anything. It's essential to remember that the principles of accountability and justice that underpin our constitutional republic, and voters deserve leaders that demonstrate compassion, sound judgment, and commitment to policies that truly serve the public interest. Let's move on to the next subject, Kamala Harris's role as the border czar, because the media didn't want you to know this. And the lead up to the election, the role of Vice President Kamala Harris as the border czar has become a contentious issue, particularly among conservative circles. Recent media narratives appear to downplay her involvement in managing the border crisis, leading to criticism that corporate media is attempting to shield Harris from accountability. Now, here's some background of media coverage. Axios, a prominent news outlet, recently published an article asserting that Republicans have tagged Harris repeatedly with the, quote, border czar title, which she earlier reporting, including by Axios itself in 2021, Axios noted Harris, appointed by Biden as border czar, said she would be looking at the root causes that drive migration. Now, other major news networks such as CNN, MSNBC, ABC News, CBS News have referred to Harris in this role. Again, they always forget, like they jumped on Donald Trump about the whole, it's going to be a bloodbath, but then they forget that they said the same thing in the same context, but they make it sound something different when Donald Trump says it. Now, here's public opinion and the border policy. Actually, wait a minute. Let's talk about the official statements. There's official statements. Now, President Biden in a press conference outlined Harris's responsibility, stating, "I have asked Harris to lead our efforts with Mexico at the Northern Triangle, stemming from the migration of our southern border." While Biden did not explicitly use the word border czar, and I know where they got this from, because when Barack Obama was in office, he had all these different czars. But Biden clearly positioned Harris as the lead figure in addressing border-related issues. And we all talked about how Biden didn't go to the border, and then Harris didn't even go to the border neither. There was just like nobody was going to go there. Meanwhile, they were shipping people all over the United States. And then a couple of Republicans decided to ship them to up to Martha's Vineyard, and people freaked out. They shipped a lot of people to New York, and they're freaking out because they've actually have to come face to face with all these people that they wanted in the country. They wanted us to be a country just of a whole bunch of immigrants, and when they got faced with the problem, they didn't know what the hell to do with it. And they were like, "Please don't send anymore. Please. I can't take it. New York, we can't take it. We were a city of immigrants, but now we can't take it anymore." How quickly people changed their mind. Reminds me of Laura Loomer sent some illegal aliens to Nancy Pelosi's door. They didn't like that. Now, public opinion and border policy. The handling of the border situation remains a critical issue for many Americans. Since the Biden administration took office, over 10 million illegal aliens have reportedly entered the United States. 10 million. The surge has prompted calls for stricter immigration policies. We're supposed to have some of the strictest in the world, but we don't. A CBS News poll indicates that 62% of Americans, including 53% of Hispanic voters, support mass deportations of illegal immigrants, reflecting widespread concern over the current approach to border security. There is no border security. Media and political implications. The media's portrayal of Harris's role in the subsequent backlash highlight broader concerns about media bias and accountability. Additionally, it was revealed that GovTrack, a website tracking politicians' voter records, had removed a page detailing Harris's record in the California Senate, where she was noted for having a radical left voting stance. This action further fuels debates about transparency and media influence in shaping public perception. And we all know they've been lying because they've been covering for Joe Biden for 3.5, 4 years now. Why not continue the lies with Kamala Harris? Now, the ongoing discussion about Harris's role as border czar underscores the complexities in immigration debate and the need for a clear, accountable leadership in addressing these challenges. And the constitutional republic's principles call for transparency and accountability, which are essential in evaluating the policies and performance of political officials. So what are we going to say about all this? We're definitely not going to be voting for Kamala Harris. I hope not. I know there's a lot of brainwashed people out there that won't even listen to things like this. And I know this is a lot of information to take in. Somebody be like, why is your podcast so long? Because it's information. And where else are you going to get it from? There's a few people out there. They're all discussing, honestly, they're all discussing drag queens at the Olympics. Which is, but it's not that important when it comes down to this election. That's distraction. I'll probably throw a little insert video in to keep you going later on when I redo this and remaster this video for publication. But I want to talk about real news. So Donald Trump, leads in key issues as the election nears. As the presidential race intensifies, Donald Trump continues to hold a significant lead over Kamala Harris. No matter what poll you want to listen to, polls are BS as far as I'm concerned. But Donald Trump leads on key issues that resonate with American voters. In the wake of Joe Biden's departure from this race, polls have shown, again, good, bad. I'm going to talk about polls, but most of the time, I believe polls can be skewed in one way or the other. But when it comes to basic facts, polls do work in a way. So we're going to talk about it. In the wake of Joe Biden's departure from the race, polls have shown a consistent preference of Trump's policies, underscoring his position as a trusted candidate on critical matters. There was a recent poll conducted by the Times in partnership with YouGov, surveyed 1,170 registered voters. And that's what's also important about polls. Knowing facts of like how many people did they poll, how many people were Trump supporters, etc., etc. Because it's statistics. Now, they revealed a slight overall preference for Trump at 46% compared to Harris's 44%. And that's where I see the BS, because it always seems like they're so close to each other, but you're wondering why. This poll delved deeper into specific issues, offering a clearer picture of voter sentiment. The economy, Trump 51, Harris 41. Immigration, Trump 52, Harris 40%. Foreign policy, Trump 49%. Harris 42%, crime, Trump 49%, Harris 40%, abortion, Trump 37%, Harris 51%. We can see where this is going. The data indicates that Trump is favored on economic management, immigration, foreign policy, and crime, areas that are pivotal to voters' concerns. Notably, Harris leads on the issue of abortion, reflecting a complex landscape where public opinion varies significantly. A separate survey from the Center Square Voters' Voice identified the top issues for voters, including inflation, illegal immigration, the economy, abortion rights, and crime. This survey highlights the nuanced priorities of the electorate, with abortion remaining a challenging area for Trump and the broader Republican base, which is another reason why we should just leave it be Work on compromise on the issue as much as we don't like it, and worry about the key issues that we're really great on and that we can win on, and not get dragged down on social issues. I've said that multiple times. The question of whether this country is ready for a female president was also addressed in the polling, with 54% of respondents expressing readiness, down from 63% in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was the nominee. This decline may indicate evolving perceptions of female leadership or reflect specific concerns about Harris as a candidate. I think it's reflecting more concern of Harris as a candidate than being a female. Recent polling trends that show Trump leading in most surveys, with notable exceptions being a narrow advantage for Harris in Reuters and Morning Consult polls. However, the overall trend points to Trump's dominance on key issues, reinforcing his appeal among voters who prioritize economic and security policies. Now, as the campaign progresses, it is crucial for Republicans to emphasize the distinctions between Trump's policies and those proposed by Harris, just like I've done in this podcast. The current focus on Harris's campaign momentum, described as a honeymoon phase, may obscure substantial policy debates. Republicans argue that Harris's policies could represent a continuation or even intensification of the previous administration's direction, which was going nowhere, which they view as a detrimental to the nation's well-being. I mean, it's like saying that somehow everything's going to be different with Kamala Harris and not Joe Biden, even though Kamala's been the vice president, Kamala's been the speaker box for Biden for a long time, and so the policies aren't changing. And if they didn't work with Biden for the last 3.5 or so years, it's not going to work any differently with Kamala. It's going to get worse. Now, the election cycle remains highly dynamic, with voter concerns shifting and new developments constantly emerging. You got our October surprise coming and our 11th hour surprise coming. God knows what else they're going to do. The Republican strategy will likely continue to highlight Trump's strengths in managing the economy, securing the borders, and ensuring public safety, contrasting these positions with Harris's records and proposals. As the election draws closer, the importance of clear, issue-based communication will be paramount in swaying undecided voters and solidifying support. Which means, again, stay away from these social conservatives type of distractions, like the Olympics, like drag queens run amok, or other stupid things that pop up, like somebody drinking a Bud Light, something that offends you. It's not that damn important. It's more important to care about the economy, care about things that matter, not things that offend me. Plenty of things offend you in this world. But what matters at the end of the day is, how am I going to pay my bills? Things that matter. How am I going to pay my bills? How is this country going to protect itself? That's what matters. What doesn't really matter, it's a laugh. What really doesn't matter is that some drag queens in the Olympics offended Christians, offended people because of a depiction of a Last Supper, which was apparently something else, and blah, blah, blah. It's good talk, but at the end of the day, you're going to make more people, more undecided voters. You're going to say insensitive things. You're going to turn more people away from Republicans, more people away from the right, because they're going to think that's the only thing you're worried about. And instead of concentrating on real issues that matter and talking about them, you're going to lose those undecided voters. That's why I like to talk about real subjects. And I'll note what was said. I'll probably have a little quick video to make light about it. But the real issues is, it's Trump versus Kamala. Quit falling for distractions.
Performing the song King. Costumes No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
But why?
Meanwhile, what's Google trying to do? Google is trying once again, to suppress your search for Donald Trump. Because there's allegations of search suppression by Google, which is raising concerns. So why is Google suppressing searches about Trump's assassination? Google has recently faced accusations of manipulating search results, potentially influencing the 2024 election. Because, 1984 is real, and keeping people from information, erasing things as we become more digitally dependent on everything, they can erase our history. I really want to know what our real history is, because the victors are the ones who get to write the history, rewrite the history. That's why it's good to collect old history books, solid history books. When they change it digitally, we have a book, and they can prove it away with the Nelson Mandela effect, blah, 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 and tell us we're wrong, or that's outdated information. But we have to study our history and remember our history. And they've tried to change our history. And there's this argument about critical race theory and DEI and all that. I'd say, people need to learn all sorts of history. They need to learn it in the maturity level that they're at. But people have to learn, and we can't keep people dumb. But Google has faced accusations of manipulating search results, potentially influencing the 2024 election. The controversy centers around the company's handling of searches related to an alleged assassination attempt. I love how they say alleged assassination attempt, but an assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Users reported that they have begun typing assassination attempt of into Google search bar, and the the autocomplete function did not suggest Donald Trump as a completion option. Even typing assassination attempt of TRUM without the final P yielded no such suggestion from Google. Now let's understand Google's autocomplete. Now, Google's autocomplete is designed to predict and display search queries in real time, based on popular searches. It aims to speed up and refine the search processes of users. Typically, for queries like assassination attempt of, autocomplete would suggest names of figures such as JFK, Martin Luther King Jr., Ronald Reagan, and Abraham Lincoln, and I would say Malcolm X, but that attempt actually didn't fail, which is bullshit. He should have been not. Even if you disagree, assassinating people is a horrible thing. Now, Google's response, of course their response is, a spokesperson for Google from New York Post said that there was no deliberate action. There's nothing to see here. No deliberate action taken to suppress search results. The company stated that the system was designed to avoid predictions associated with political violence, which might explain the omission of, quote, Donald Trump. Now, public reaction and commentary. Elon Musk commented on the situation, noting that when a user typed Donald Trump, Google's autocomplete suggested Donald Reagan and Donald Duck, but not Donald Trump. Musk remarked, "Wow, Google has a search ban on President Donald Trump. Election interference?" Now, the historical context of allegations against Google. This incident is not isolated. According to the Media Research Center, Google has been accused of bias and manipulation in search times and search results 41 times over the past 16 years, raising concerns about the platform's influence over public information. And I'm going to tell you this, as much as I love Donald Trump, and I don't want to see crap, I don't want to see news that's anti-Donald Trump, at least 2/3 of the automatic crap that pops up on my phone is almost constantly some anti-Donald Trump stuff. Barely ever do I get anything positive about Donald Trump popping up on my phone. And believe me, these phones know better. They know, and that's what they push to you. They intentionally push you anything that's anti-Donald Trump. That's what the tech company is. That's why I have 2 master's degree in IT, can't get a job in the field, because I'm a right-leaning, patriot-loving constitutionalist for liberty. And their HR and their tech field does not want that. They don't want that. They don't want people. They want people who want chaos. The whole woke crowd. And I hate using the word woke. Now there's concerns beyond Google. The controversy extends to other technology platforms as well. A user reported asking ChatGPT about the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, noting that the AI mentioned minor incidents from 2016 and 2020, but not the recent alleged attempts in Butler, Pennsylvania. Now, these incidents highlight ongoing concerns about the role of big tech companies in shaping public discourse and potentially influencing political outcomes. The implications for free speech and democracy in our constitutional republic remain significant, as these platforms continue to play a central role in how information is assessed and disseminated. This is a reason why I keep GoRightNews.com going. This is the reason why it's based in a foreign-based server, not American-based, with some redundancy. It's a place where I can post things, and you can go to GoRightNews.com and look at articles. And as citizen journalist, I put these down for people to learn. Yes, it's opinion-based, a little bit, what I say. And I tell you when there's opinion. You can tell when there's opinion. And if I'm wrong about something, I'll retract it. But I try to give the facts. I try to get the information. At the end of the day, I'm trying to get the information to you. And I don't always agree with Republicans. Believe me. I definitely don't agree with the Democrats on a lot of things. And I've never said I was a straight-up conservative. I am more of a moderate, which I believe our country was based on moderation. Our country and our founders were of different people, different religions, different sects, different everything. They came here from England, a lot of them. They came because of religious persecution. They came to get away from the Church of England. They came for religious freedom. They came for no religion. They didn't want to be forced. And why our country is called the Great Compromise. Because these people, this diversity, this real equity, even though they were all basically white men, they did come together and form a more perfect union that has stand true for almost, 250 years or more? And it's because of this great compromise that our country still stands. And we're never going to continue to stand if we, like they said, divided we fall, united we stand, divided we fall. We're divided. We have put this mentality down that you've got to be right or you got to be left, and then whoever's right or left always has to be right all the time. People have forgotten about sportsmanship. They'd be taught about gangs by that way, by that standard. People are in gangs. If it ain't school gangs, it's turf gangs, rivalries, etc. But at the end of the day, there's winners and there's losers. But sometimes maybe we all win if we learn how to work together. And we're never going to walk away from the table happy. I don't know, it was Donald Trump at one time. He said, how do you get people to walk away? He says, because they all got something they wanted, and somebody walked away happy that the other person didn't get what they wanted. But at the end of the day, things happen. Compromise goes a long way. And it doesn't make people a rhino or a dino or anything like that. It's the smartest way to govern. Because we are a country of multiple people. And if you're running for office, you're not just the governor or the president of one political party. You're supposed to be the governor of all the people. It's called We the People for a reason. I've said that multiple times. I don't know what else to say. But we can't continue as a country talking about civil wars and fighting each other over every little thing. And I'm here to try to push as much as I can and much of education I can. Of course I'm partial to Donald Trump. But why? Because Donald Trump has delivered and he's done his job. And I've said it multiple times, I don't care what political party Donald Trump was in, or currently. He could turn into a Democrat tomorrow and I'd vote for him. Because I know he's the best person to do the job, and he understands the concept of the art of the deal and how to run a country. God bless everybody. Peace.